My dear friends, every single day we wake up with two choices: to let the world control us or to let God guide us. The difference between peace and stress, between clarity and confusion, is not found outside. It is found inside, in how deeply we connect with the divine. We live in a world full of noise, opinions, and distractions. But when you pause, close your eyes for a moment, and remember that God is always by your side, suddenly the storms of life don't feel as heavy. Today, I want to share with you lessons that will not just motivate you for a moment, but transform the way you live if you practice them every single day. When you open your eyes in the morning, the very first thought that crosses your mind often decides the rhythm of your entire day. For many people, it is the weight of unfinished tasks, the pressure of responsibilities, or the irritation of a new challenge waiting outside. But imagine, just for a moment, that the very first thing you do when you wake up is to remember God. Imagine beginning your day not with a complaint, but with a sense of gratitude, not with a restless sigh, but with a whisper of thankfulness. The moment your mind turns towards God, you shift your focus from problems to possibilities, from emptiness to abundance, from worry to peace. And that shift, though invisible, can transform your entire life. Every day is a gift that millions of people did not get to see. When you rise from your bed, your heart is still beating, your lungs are still working, your body is still carrying you forward. Isn't that itself a miracle? Yet we often overlook this miracle and jump straight into stress. But the truth is, remembering God in the morning aligns your soul with strength and serenity before you even take your first step into the world. Just like a device needs to be fully charged to work efficiently, your mind and heart need to be charged with divine connection. And what better time to charge yourself than in the freshness of the morning, when the world is still quiet and your mind is still clear. Think of how a musician tunes his instrument before a performance. If the instrument is not tuned, no matter how skilled the player, the sound will be unpleasant. Similarly, your mind and heart are the instruments through which you experience life. By remembering God at the start of the day, you are tuning your inner instrument. You are preparing yourself to face every challenge with calmness, every success with humility, and every failure with hope. Without this tuning, even the smallest issue can throw you off balance. But with it, even the greatest storm cannot shake your peace. Let us take a simple example. Imagine two people starting their day. One wakes up, scrolls through social media, sees something that triggers envy, and carries that bitterness to work. His entire day is colored by negativity. The second wakes up, sits for 2 minutes, closes his eyes, and simply says, "Thank you, God, for this new day. Thank you for the breath in my lungs, for the family I have, for the chance to try again." He walks into the same world, faces the same challenges, but his spirit is lighter, calmer, more centered. The difference: one chose to remember God, the other chose to remember the Word, and the choice made all the difference. Life will never stop throwing challenges. Bills will not disappear, deadlines will not vanish, relationships will not become magically perfect. But when you start your day with God, you are not asking for your problems to go away. You are asking for the strength to rise above them. You are reminding yourself that you are not alone in this journey. There is a higher power guiding you, protecting you, and shaping you into something greater. And when that awareness enters your heart, life becomes less about surviving and more about living with purpose. Even gratitude itself is a form of remembering God. Every time you say, "Thank you," you are acknowledging that something greater than you is providing for you. When you eat your breakfast, do you ever pause to think how many hands were involved in bringing that food to your plate? The farmer, the driver, the vendor, the cook. And beyond them, the rain that fell, the sun that shone, the soil that nourished. None of these are in your control, yet they all came together so you could eat. Isn't that the hand of God? When you realize this, how can you not feel gratitude? And that gratitude creates humility, and humility creates peace. Some people say, "But I don't have time in the morning." The truth is, you don't need an hour. Even a single minute spent in awareness of God is enough to set the tone. You can whisper a small prayer while brushing your teeth. You can close your eyes and thank God while drinking water. You can take one deep breath before leaving the house and remind yourself, "I am guided, I am protected, I am blessed." These little acts may seem small, but they plant seeds of positivity in your heart. Over time, those seeds grow into trees of inner strength. Remembering God also keeps your ego in check. When you think of yourself as the center of the universe, you feel crushed when things don't go your way. But when you see yourself as a servant of something higher, your heart becomes free. You no longer carry the burden of controlling everything. Instead, you trust, you surrender, and you live with greater peace. So, my friends, start your day with God. Before the phone, before the news, before the rush of the world, pause and connect. That simple act can change your entire day. And when practiced daily, it can change your entire life. Because at the end of the day, it is not the wealth we earn or the titles we collect that bring peace, but the closeness we feel to God. And the door to that closeness opens every single morning, if only we choose to walk through it. Silence is one of the most underestimated treasures in life. In a world that is constantly demanding our attention, silence feels like a luxury. Notifications, conversations, deadlines, responsibilities, everything around us keeps us occupied and distracted. We spend our days drowning in noise and then wonder why our minds are anxious, our hearts are anxious, and our souls are exhausted. But the truth is, silence is not emptiness, silence is fullness. Silence is not weakness, silence is strength. When you sit in silence, even for a few moments, you are not escaping life. You are returning to the core of your being, to the divine presence that has always been within you. Think about it. When was the last time you sat quietly, without reaching for your phone, without turning on the TV, without trying to fill the air with words? For many people, silence feels uncomfortable, even frightening, because silence reveals the truth of our inner world. When you are quiet, the thoughts you have been ignoring rise to the surface. The emotions you have been suppressing begin to speak. But if you allow yourself to sit through that discomfort, you find something extraordinary. You begin to hear the voice of God, the subtle guidance that cannot be heard through the noise of the world. Silence is like a mirror. It reflects what is inside us. If your mind is cluttered, silence may first feel overwhelming. But gradually, as you breathe, as you allow yourself to let go, silence clears the fog. It helps you see things as they really are. Just as muddy water becomes clear when left still, your heart too becomes calm when you give it the gift of silence. In that calmness, wisdom arises. In that calmness, peace takes root. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine two people facing the same stressful situation at work. One reacts instantly, with anger, raising his voice, saying things he later regrets. The other takes a deep breath, steps outside, sits quietly for 2 minutes, and allows himself to settle in silence. When he returns, his words are calmer, his decisions wiser, his energy lighter. Both faced the same challenge, but one let noise control him, while the other found strength in silence. This is the power silence gives us. It turns reaction into reflection, chaos into clarity. We often think strength comes from speaking, from asserting, from showing our presence loudly. But real strength is measured in the ability to remain calm when others lose control, to stay silent when anger tempts you to shout, to listen when your ego pushes you to argue. Silence is not passive. It is active, alive, and deeply transformative. It gives you mastery over yourself. And the person who can master himself can master any situation. Consider nature for a moment. The most beautiful experiences in life often happen in silence. The sunrise does not make noise, yet it paints the sky with breathtaking beauty. A flower does not announce its blooming, yet its fragrance fills the air. The night sky does not shout, yet its stars leave us in awe. God often works in silence, and when we align ourselves with silence, we align ourselves with His ways. Silence is also the language of love. When you truly care for someone, words are not always necessary. A mother holding her child, a friend sitting beside you in grief, a couple watching the sunset together, those moments of silence often speak louder than 1,000 words. In the same way, when you sit in silence with God, no words are needed. Your stillness itself becomes prayer. Your quietness itself becomes devotion. Practical life shows us that silence is not about isolating yourself for hours or escaping from the world. Even a few intentional moments of silence every day can recharge your entire being. While sipping your morning tea, sit quietly for a minute and simply breathe. Before responding to an upsetting message, pause and sit in silence. Before sleeping at night, turn off every device and give yourself a few moments to just be. These small acts are like watering a plant. Slowly, consistently, they allow your inner life to grow strong and vibrant. The beauty of silence is that it gives space for everything important to grow. In silence, creativity blooms. In silence, intuition sharpens. In silence, forgiveness becomes easier. In silence, you rediscover your connection with God. The world may continue to run fast, but your soul begins to walk gracefully. The more you practice silence, the less the noise of the world can shake you. So, when life feels overwhelming, when your mind is spinning, when your heart feels heavy, don't always run to noise for distraction. Instead, run to silence for healing. Sit with yourself, sit with God, and listen. Silence will not solve your problems instantly, but it will give you the wisdom to face them and the peace to carry them. Silence is not emptiness. It is the space where God's voice whispers. It is the place where your soul breathes. And if you can embrace silence daily, even for a few minutes, you will find that your life becomes clearer, calmer, and more purposeful. Because the truth is, when you learn to sit in silence, you discover that you were never alone. God was always sitting with you. Negativity is like a shadow that follows us everywhere if we allow it. Anger, jealousy, criticism, resentment. These emotions may feel powerful in the moment, but in reality, they drain us more than anything else. They cloud our judgment, steal our peace, and poison our relationships. Detachment from negativity does not mean ignoring the reality of life or pretending that everything is perfect. It means choosing not to let negativity control your heart, your mind, and your actions. It is about protecting your inner space so that you remain calm even when the world outside is full of storms. Every day we face negativity in some form. Someone may speak harshly to us, someone may disappoint us, or things may not go the way we planned. The natural instinct is to react, to fight back, to hold on, to replay the hurt over and over in our minds. But when we hold on to negativity, it is like carrying burning coal in our hands, expecting the other person to get burned. In truth, we are the ones who get burned. Detachment allows us to put down that coal, to let go of the poison, and to walk away lighter and freer. Let me share a simple example. Imagine two colleagues at work. One receives criticism from his boss and spends the whole day in anger, venting to others, ruining his mood, and carrying bitterness home. The other receives the same criticism, but instead of reacting, he pauses, takes a breath, and asks himself, is there something I can learn here? If yes, let me improve. If not, why should I waste my energy? He chooses to detach from the negativity and carry peace within. Both face the same situation, but their choices made their lives very different. One became a prisoner of negativity, the other remained free. Detaching from negativity does not mean you don't care. It means you care enough about your own peace that you refuse to let anger or bitterness hijack your day. It means you value your relationship with God and your inner harmony more than winning an argument or proving someone wrong. When you remember that God is in control, you stop feeling the need to fight every battle. Some battles are better left in His hands because His justice is far greater than ours. Negativity also shows up in the form of jealousy. We look at others and think, why do they have what I don't? Why is their life easier? These thoughts eat away at our happiness. But when you detach from jealousy, you understand that everyone is walking their own path. What God has given you is meant for you, and what He has given others is meant for them. A flower does not compare itself to another flower. It simply blooms where it is planted. When you stop comparing, you start living. Detachment from negativity gives you the freedom to celebrate others without losing yourself. Criticism is another area where negativity grips us. People will always talk, sometimes to help us, sometimes to hurt us. But if we attach ourselves to every word, our peace will be shattered daily. Detachment means you listen with balance. If the words are constructive, you learn. If they are destructive, you let them pass like wind. Not every opinion deserves a place in your heart. By detaching, you are not rejecting people. You are rejecting the negativity that comes with their words. Think about how a lotus grows. It rises from the mud, but its petals remain untouched by the dirt. In the same way, detachment from negativity allows you to live in this world without being stained by it. The mud is still there. Problems, toxic people, unfair situations, but you remain above it, blossoming with peace. That is the strength of spiritual detachment. This does not mean that you suppress your emotions. Suppression only makes negativity stronger. Detachment means you acknowledge the emotion, but you do not let it dominate you. If you feel anger, you notice it, but you don't let it decide your words or actions. If you feel sadness, you sit with it, but you don't drown in it. You create space between the emotion and your response, and in that space, you find wisdom. Daily life gives us countless chances to practice this. When someone cuts you off in traffic, instead of reacting with rage, detach and remind yourself, this moment will pass. My peace is more valuable. When a family member speaks harshly, instead of firing back, detach and remember, maybe they are hurting inside. Let me not add more fire. When your plans collapse, instead of falling into despair, detach and think, God may have a better plan waiting. These small acts of detachment slowly build into a powerful habit, making you unshakable. The greatest gift of detachment from negativity is freedom. Freedom from being controlled by others, freedom from being ruled by emotions, freedom from carrying unnecessary burdens. And in that freedom, you find God's presence more easily. Negativity creates noise in the heart, but detachment clears the space so that divine peace can enter. When your heart is not heavy with anger, jealousy, or resentment, you naturally feel lighter, calmer, and closer to God. So choose detachment not as an escape, but as a strength. Detachment does not make you cold. It makes you wise. It does not make you careless. It makes you peaceful. And the more you practice it, the more you will realize that your happiness was never meant to be controlled by the negativity around you. Your happiness was always meant to flow from the connection you have with God within you. And once you taste that freedom, no negativity in the world can hold you captive again.